Now this will be a quick one. Let's get started. Now you may be watching this because your vehicle has a supercharger or maybe a turbocharger and you have one of the trouble codes listed below. Now this 2011 Audi S4 has two charge air pressure sensors. There's one on the driver's side and there's a second on the passenger side. And you'll notice that they are mirror images of each other. So in this case, I'll just show on how to test one of the sensors and replace it. It's the exact same process for the other side. Now let me quickly show you on how to correctly remove this harness connector. This is something that people often break and there's no need to. It's very, very simple. Simply move up this tab. Okay, see how that moves up? That's the down position. You want the up position. You're now pressing this back toward the body and then lift. Okay, and when it comes time to reinstall it, simply place it down. You hear a click. Let me do it again. Okay, hear a click. Press down. You're good to go. Now this is a digital multimeter, very easy to use. Do not be intimidated by this. This is around 25 bucks. As always, I'll have a link in the description box below. And these are test probe leads. Now if you don't want to invest in a small kit like this, you can simply use paper clips. And now I'm taking my test leads or test probes and inserting them into the first two leads. Number 1 and number 2. Now on the multimeter, I'm simply going to volts. You want the DC setting. Simply plug in your leads. Now we're just turning on the ignition. In this case, it's simply pushing in the key. You can also start the vehicle if you wish. And as you can see, we have 5 volts of power. Now if you see a minus, that simply means that your ground and your power is reversed. So if I just swap these, same thing, okay? So this verifies that everything is in good shape regarding the wiring. Now in case you're wondering, how did I know which 2 terminals to check? There are 4 different openings here. Well, very simply off camera, I tested each opening and found the power and the ground. So in other words, you want to see roughly 4.5 to 5 volts here. And if we have a trouble code for this sensor, it simply needs to be replaced. Now if you do this test and you do not see a reading here, I'll talk more about that toward the end of the video. So in my case, I'm using a T25 Torx bit. Now this being a modern vehicle, it uses Torx screws throughout the engine bay, meaning in order to remove this sensor, we have this plastic cover and you find Torx screws everywhere throughout the entire engine bay. These are so well known to strip out. I will give you a quick tip in a moment. In case you're dealing with something like this on the driver's side and you have a vacuum line that you need to remove, it's held on, as you can see here, with an Oderker clamp. If you need a guide on how to remove and install one of these types of clamps, I will include a link in the description box below. Very easy to do. You can buy a kit inexpensively and it does a terrific job. And I'm using drive grip. This is something I showed in a previous video, but check this out. There are small metal flakes in the fluid. Okay, and this helps grip between the fastener and your Torx bit. Now airplane mechanics use something very, very similar to this. You only need a little bit. You can place it on the tool or you can place it on the fastener itself. Take my word for it, these fasteners are very soft, and in this case the vehicle is 11 years old, 182,000 miles. Do not take any chances. Okay. And then I have a Q-tip, some super clean. This is really good stuff, by the way. See all the gunk? Get all of it out. You don't want, again, you don't want this to strip. Once again, just using the drive grip, very, very little. Press firmly down, okay? Firmly down. And there we go. I know many of you like to use power tools. I would not use them here. Basic hand tools. Now there's a rubber O-ring on the rear of the sensor which is holding the sensor on. So this is just a plastic interior removal tool and simply just very gently press on the back as I rock this back and forth. Be patient with it, you don't want to break anything. And there's your sensor. So here's where that O-ring lives. Now, if you remove this and you find that the O-ring is just worn out, dried out, broken, cracked, whatever the case may be, this may be your problem. And what you can simply purchase is an H&BR O-ring kit. These are absolutely terrific. Replace the O-ring, reinstall it, test everything, and hopefully you're in good shape. If you do need to replace this, they're pretty inexpensive, 20, 25 bucks. So we're just going to reinstall it, delete the code, and we're all done. Now, if you're not getting power here, it can be something as simple as a blown fuse, or you have a deeper issue within the wiring, or it could be the vehicle's computer. Now, there are a couple of ways to help you find the fault within the wiring. The fuse box is easy enough. Just check your fuses and see if you have a blown fuse. But if all of the fuses are in good shape, you can purchase a tool, as shown here, that will find electrical shorts. And I'll include a link for that tool in the description box below. It's not inexpensive, but just by using it once, it's already paid for itself. But chances are you will not have a problem with the wiring. Unless you purchased the car from Copart, it has flood damage, fire damage, different story. But for most of you, you will not have a problem here. It's simply the sensor. So as always, thank you for watching, and we'll see you soon.